Coach, I'm sure a lot of your players, I know all the fans have been looking forward to this matchup all year long. You say every game is the same. Does this one get your juices flowing a little bit extra because it's the Dogs and Broncos?
Well, I really hope it is the same. We should not go up and down. We should go into every game the same, and we understand the matchup. We understand they're a great football team, well coached, a lot of ability. So have to have a great week preparation and go on the road. Very difficult place to play, hostile environment there, very loud. So it's going to have a great week and go in there with a great attitude and great focus.
Well, it'd be nice to go in there really healthy as well. And Jeff Allison left the game in the first quarter. He played the last 2 games without Cyrus Tuatele. You've had some guys come back as well, like Micaiah Quick. How would you evaluate, or how would you say you feel about the health of your team going into this matchup?
Well, we're probably like everyone else right now. At this time of year, there's a lot of bumps and bruises and guys playing through things, and we're no different than anyone else. And so at this time of year, you really have to practice smart, and make sure. We've been going at this a long, long time, and so we need a lot of mental reps and need to practice fast, but try to stay away from being on the ground and things like that. So give it a short week. We're going to have to practice really smart this week.
I've heard some coaches say you learn more in a loss than you do in a win, but you haven't had many losses to learn from. You've had a lot of wins to learn from this year. What are some of the teachable moments or things you hope your team learned from Saturday night in Vegas?
Oh, there's many. There's no such thing as a perfect game, and so a lot of opportunities to learn, whether it be a fundamental, whether it be a technique. We jumped off sides on punt return on a 4th and 6 and gave them a 4th and 1 that they converted. There's a lot of things, that as you go through it, there's learning experiences everywhere. And like I said, be it something with schematics, be it something with a fundamental, could have done something different, could have stepped differently, could have had different hand placement. There's just so many things that you constantly are coaching that need to improve from week to week.
I know you've been very clear about keeping the players focused and tuning out some of the things that can be a distraction, but is there a feeling of anticipation going into tomorrow night in the next college football playoff rankings, since those can have a role in where you end up this year?
No, not at all. You know the answer to that question. I don't know why you keep asking me that question, but
well, that one as opposed to the rankings yesterday, which have no impact on where you go. That ranking eventually is going to have an impact on whether you host the game or what bowl game you go to.
Well, really, none of them have an impact until the end of the year.
Yeah.
And so that's really what we need to focus on, because it means absolutely nothing until the end of the year. So like I said, we really try to focus every week on approaching things the same way. That way we're not on a roller coaster of high emotion, low emotion, things like that. And so, like I've told our team, a number in front of our name doesn't mean anything till the end of the year. And, you just have to take one game at a time. And, it's really that simple. And so it doesn't do anything for us. It doesn't help us. It's not going to make us play any better. Or, I would really hope that that's not the case with us, and that we take one play at a time, one day at a time, one meeting at a time. All that we do, is always the same message.
Asa Fuller had some opportunities the last couple games, really, and you got him out there to kick a longer one in this last game. You haven't had that game yet where it comes down to whether or not he makes a kick. How important was it to get him some of those reps in this last game?
Yeah, it was nice. 6 for 6 on his extra points, a couple field goals. I think it was a 47-yarder he made. And they were hit solid. Each one of them was hit solid and true, and that's what you want out of a kicker, And so felt like he did a really good job. His kickoffs were good, and so it was great. He got our special team player of the week for our team, and so that was nice. And hopefully he can continue to progress, and that gave him some confidence to be consistent with what he's doing. And I think each week he's growing. He's a young guy, and so last week he did a great job.
Coach, I know you'll never make excuses, but kickoff is on Friday, so you lose a day of preparation. How does that impact the preparations? Like, what logistically has to change this week?
It won't change a lot. We'll get our work in. We'll back off on a few things that we've been doing all year with some individual work that we've been doing every day for a long time, and really focus on team reps more than anything, and try to limit the wear and tear, and cut the length of practice down a little bit. But we're not going to sacrifice any team reps or anything that we need to do in preparation that way. But it's really important that you go into a game healthy or as fresh as you can. And, so the game isn't till, I think, 8:15. And so there's a lot of time between Thursday morning practice and game time. So that should give us some recovery time as well.
I only ask this because it would make that win so much sweeter, but Fresno State has never won on the blue turf in Boise. I guess, why do you think that is? And is that something you just can't prepare for, like the sightlines visually?
I don't think the blue turf has anything to do with it. I think their team is really good, and it's very loud there, and it's a hostile environment and all that, but the color of the turf, I don't see that makes a difference. I hope we're not looking down at the turf. Our eyes should be up, focus on what we're doing. And Boise has a great tradition at home, and I'm not sure the turf has much to do with it. I think it's more about them being well coached and have really good players.
In seeing Boise State on video, including their last game when they had that goal line stand to beat BYU, they seem to be gritting games out this season. Is that what you're seeing too? I mean, is this going to be a really physical, hard-fought game?
I anticipate a physical, hard-fought game, yes, no doubt about it. They typically are. When you play them, they're a physical group, and like I said, they're really well coached, and you have to earn everything that you get. Yeah, it's it will be a hard-fought game, I'm sure. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
This is your first of a 3-game stretch where you're playing for trophies on the line, so you have to lug that milk can all the way to Boise. You're a historian of the game. Does this just add something else to the rivalry and to the matchups? Well,
I mean, you're right. There's trophies, in the next 3 games, and but there's enough motivation to play the game and try to do our best to be successful. The milk can's just a part of it. Like I said, I don't think that we're not going to go up and down on emotion on whether a milk can's involved or anything else. It's if you're able to win and you're able to be successful and keep it, that's always a bonus.
Coach, the last 3 road environments have all been pretty similar, where you and your team have had to create energy. Do you do anything this week to anticipate what should be a much more hostile environment on Friday?
Yeah. I mean, we prepare each week when we go on the road pretty much the same way, as far as dealing with noise, because you never know what the environment's going to be when you go somewhere. You never know what the crowd's going to be. So we'll do the same thing as we always do. They have great fan support there. It's very loud when you're even watching the tape. When the end zone camera's shaking, so you could tell that, there's a lot of ruckus going on, a lot of people stomping and yelling and things like that because the camera's moving up and down a little bit. So, good thing is we were able to play there last year, so we can draw from that and kind of have an idea what it feels like. And, but again, it will be the same type of preparation that we always take going on the road as far as how to deal with noise.
Also, probably the first time since you were there last time, the team will have to deal with temperatures. Does that affect the offense when it's cold and the balls might be harder to catch?
We have equipment to deal with that, whether it be gloves or sleeves or whatever it may be. I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think it's, high of 48 and low of 30 is what I saw. So I don't anticipate being that bad. It'll be a crisp night for sure, but we're prepared with whatever gear we need to have to be prepared for it.
You played this team 8 consecutive quarters last year. How much does that help in terms of preparation when you've seen their quarterback and some of their key players that return for that much?
Yeah, there's a little familiarity there. We know, that they're very good in all areas, and every year is a little bit different, and they have different guys playing in different places, and so but there is a lot of carryover too. They're a veteran team, obviously a great quarterback and great receivers and great running back and always physical offensive line, and very well coached on defense, run to the ball, don't give up big plays, but everyone has new little wrinkles from year to year. It doesn't stay the same all the time, so they'll kind of I'm sure they'll look at us the same way, that we have a couple different guys playing on our team this year, so schematically things change from year to year and week to week, and I'm sure it'll be the same for them.
Coach, how different does the defense look without a guy like Van Der Esch back there?
Well, he's a great player, but they have good players, in his place. They're very solid in what they do. Like I said, they're very well coached. They're very disciplined in what they do. So it's really hard to get them out of alignment because they do such a great job with it. He was obviously a great player, but they're the type of team that are able to recruit really well and kind of reload.
Harsin said after the game, the title game, that you guys were outmatched physically. Do you think that was the case after that title game last year?
No, I don't think so. It's I thought it was a physical game, and both teams played hard, and they made a big play in the passing game toward the end of the game, coming off their goal line, and they made a play when they needed to, and so I think they're two physical teams and two teams that are going to play really hard, and see how it goes.
Is it any concern to you at all that the Bulldogs haven't played a close game in a couple months, that most of your games have been decided, before the fourth quarter, or is that just something that fans and certain media worry about? Is that any concern to you at all?
No, it's not a concern. You're right with what you say, but they've, for 3 quarters they've been, tight games, and we've been fortunate in the fourth quarter to have leads in the last few weeks. I can't remember, how many weeks or whatever. But this will be a 4-quarter game for sure, and, but we always talk about it. We always talk about playing all 4 quarters, and our starters have gone into the fourth quarter most of the time, at least for a series. And, but this will be a tough physical 4-quarter game. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Jeffrey Allison, what's his status for Friday night? And if he can't play or is limited, how would that affect you guys? I would imagine it could be a big effect.
Yeah, I think Jeff will be fine. It's early in the week, and the guys did a good job, last week when he didn't go back in, and guys did a nice job of filling in. And Jeff's in good spirits, and I anticipate that he'll be fine and ready to go.
Similar to last year, you guys are doing a great job of limiting sacks. Marcus doesn't get sacked or pressured very often. Boise State has the most sacks of any team in the conference. I thought that their pressure in the championship game was one of the things that kind of swung the game in their favor. How would you assess that matchup of their pass rush versus your pass protectors? And is that a matchup that you guys have to win or do a better job on?
Yeah, I think for sure protecting your quarterback is a big deal, and mainly to keep you out of long yard situations, because if you have negative plays, it puts you behind the sticks, and then you're out of manageable situations and harder to move the chains if you're in those you're in those third longs. But they have talented guys coming off the edge, and they do a nice job there. And I think they had 7 sacks this last week against BYU, and so we're going to have to make sure that our pass protection schemes are sound, and that our guys compete well. They're good players, and but Marcus does a nice job too of getting rid of the ball when he needs to get rid of the ball, and pass protection goes into all of it, getting rid of the ball on time, not just the offensive line, but the running backs, the tight ends, everyone who's in the protection schemes. We're going to have to be dialed in for it, no doubt.
Does the fact that Marcus and so many of your other key players have already played at Boise State in a tough environment in last year's championship game, does that give you any kind of advantage that there's no going to be a surprise in what it's like to play there in a late season game?
Yeah, I think there's some carryover there as far as just what the environment's going to be like. Last year I don't think we really knew going in, what the environment would be like, and so yeah, I don't think there's any surprise of, hey, we're going there, it's going to be really loud and and all that, So yeah, there's no surprise of what we're going to get, So yes, going there last year at the end of the year. Gave us a little understanding. You still have to deal with it. It's not to say it's going to be easier to deal with, but at least you know what to expect.
I think Marcus completed passes to at least nine different receivers last week. I didn't go up and count the final tally. You've been showing more additional weapons, I guess, as the season's gone on. It just hasn't been Keyshawn or your tall tight end. How does that make you a better offense? And Jameer Jordan, I mean, he's kind of come on the last couple of weeks with his playmaking ability. What difference does he make?
Well, Mark has done a nice job of going through his progression and throwing the ball to the open guy. We don't ever go into a play saying this ball's going to this guy all the way. That's not how it works. It's how the defense covers, how you go through your progression, and you make your reads and you throw the ball to the open receiver. And so Mark has done a nice job of that, of going through his progression. Coach DeBoer does a nice job of coaching him and having him understand what that looks like. And, so, I mean, that's the reason, why different guys are getting the ball, is because we get different looks from defenses each week, and depending on the play design and the coverage that they give you, that really dictates where the ball goes.
This is the first time you'll have faced Boise State where you don't have to expect them mixing in other quarterbacks. Last year it was Cozart. Earlier this year it was Cord before he got hurt. So you're going to see a whole lot of Brett Rippon in this game. Now that he's wrapping up his career there and has been a 4-year starter, what are the things that make him dangerous that you have to be prepared for, that you have to deal with Friday night?
Yeah, he's a great player. He's highly competitive. He's really smart, understands what he's doing, very accurate passer, can throw the deep ball, throws the intermediate ball really well, can scramble, can extend plays. He can pull it down and go as well, and make positive yards. So you can't go to sleep on that either. They'll have some design quarterback runs with him, where a lot of it last year was Cozart, but this year, Rippon can hurt you with his legs as well. But he's an experienced, great player. He's had a lot of success to his career, and he's got a lot of playmakers around him. And so, anytime you have someone that is that experienced and has had that much success, he knows where he's going with the football, and very smart, doesn't turn it over, and so he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
And last thing, I know there are questions we ask you every week that you tire of, but I don't think you get tired of getting asked about Jim Sweeney. He was the last Bulldog coach to beat Boise State up there, and when you flip that calendar from October to November, do you hear his voice in your head?
Yeah, with Coach Sweeney, there's a picture of him in my office that, he's standing there with his arms crossed, right? And he's got that stern look on his face. So every now and then as I'm walking to the field, I see that look. And I was around him enough to know, both as a player and a coach, what that look means. And I think that's, a big part of the pride and tradition of Bulldog football. There's no question in my mind that Coach Sweeney is the foundation of this program. And I just happen to be really fortunate enough to be around him during those times. And, I know what I know what his expectation was and how much pride he had in this place and the drive and the passion. And so we just hopefully continue to carry that legacy on to be able to make him proud in some way.
All right, well, thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
That's Coach.